Hey, this is Rebecca Gordon. This is my sister Sylvia Gordon. And on this edition of Sisters of Selling, or in Selling, we're going to talk about the decline of MedSup sales.
Let's just talk about what's going on in MedSup. For a lot of you, you've slowly drifted into primarily Med Advantage sales. And we've talked to a lot of people that are kind of snarky that I only sell Med Advantage or I only sell MedSup. They're really in one camp or the other, which I think is kind of a disservice.
It's very short-sighted.
Because there are people that only want to sell MedSups because they don't want to do the certification, right? There's people that only want to sell MedSups and they'll say, well, I just don't believe in it. No, right. I think more of it's a lazy issue. Right. Because to be a good agent, a specialist in this market, you really need to be able to talk to them about the products that are available.
You got to do both.
Right?
Yeah, because no one product is perfect for all clients.
And then we get people on the other side of Med Advantage like, oh, I don't do MedSups. It's too expensive. I was like, well, that's kind of lazy too.
That's kind of lazy.
You need to understand the value proposition. So let's talk about the value proposition of MedSups because it is greatly impacted by the Joe Namath ads.
Right. So Joe Namath, there's a lot of reasons for us not to like him, but one reason to like him is the media saturation. I think more people are buying Med Advantage because they are seeing it year after year on the
hour
commercials.
After hour.
It's not a fly in the night, right? You see it every year. So I think that there's a lot of legitimacy now to the program versus 2005. And I think that's totally due to the media and more people being more comfortable with that product.
And you see nothing. It's crickets.
Nothing on MedSup.
Have you seen a MedSup ad? A MedSup TV ad?
Mm-mm.
No.
Sure.
And why not?
It's not a profitable product line.
Let's say it's not profitable. It's not as profitable.
It's not as profitable.
It doesn't pay. It's not. They don't have the money for TV ad saturation like Med Advantage.
Carriers make a lot more off Med Advantage.
A lot more.
Than off MedSup.
Way more.
So the money comes from there. So we're going to put the money in there to keep that beast going. MedSup is great because it's a great way to potentially get new clients, and it could be a great first option for a client. But later on in their life, depending on their circumstances, Med Advantage might be the best choice for them.
So let's look at this report by Mark Farah and Associates. It's a subscription newsletter. If you don't get it, if you're in MedSups or you want to be an expert in the senior market, it's something you could look into. But this is his report, and it said, we already knew. MedSup was slightly down. So let's look at
the last 3 years.
How much is it down?
Yeah, so when you look at older than 3 years, you see the blue, and
people are keeping it.
Why do you think they're keeping it?
They're old, they're sick.
They're old, they're sick. All right, so written in the last 3 years, what are we seeing?
Less new business.
Going down.
We know that because of Med Advantage going up.
And just looking at our own book of business, we see that of how high Advantage is, and MedSup has gone just a smidge. PDP has gone down, and so it all goes together.
This is something that a lot of agents aren't privy to, is to see what's out there outstanding. Who owns what?
What's being sold. So, of course, you have your Fs at 38%, but we're seeing the Gs tick upward 35%, and that'll just keep that market share will get bigger and bigger.
They lump the M in with the N, but that's N. Nobody's buying M. And N used to be minuscule. I love an N. We've talked about it a lot on this channel. You see that growing. I'll go back to the next one. This is very interesting. This is how much money they're making. The premium in the blue versus claims in the green. So in 2020, nicer profit.
It made some money.
2021, profit a little lower.
Yeah, it's squeezing in
2022, profit a little lower. So when Med Advantage goes up and MedSup goes down, that's going to impact your existing policyholders.
And you see your claims.
Premiums.
Look how they're going up.
Yeah. Because the sick people are keeping a hold of it because they understand the value prop, which means everybody's going to pay more. And so when you're selling a MedSup, you need to put that into your presentation. It costs more. It will continue to go up. I always say whether you use it or not, because I have people that assume if they don't use it, why would it go up? And it's going to keep going up exponentially, especially if Med Advantage keeps taking off the healthy people. Mm-hmm. So just because you can afford it at 65, 66, 67, you might not be able to continue to afford it for the rest of your life. And I put that out there. Realistic expectations at the beginning of the sale. And if it comes to a point where it's really squeezing your budget, call me We have other options.
Right.
Hold on to it as long as you can comfortably afford the premium.
I mean, is there anything that you buy that has a locked premium? I mean, just in general, your insurance goes up, your expenses.
But seniors don't think of it like that. They think, I'm retired.
I get it.
My income's fixed.
And I don't use it.
Yeah, especially if I don't. My income's fixed. So how could you, in good conscience, raise my premiums on an old lady? How can you do that? It's a business. People don't think of it as a business. So
It's a business.
that's another one. This is very fascinating. Who owns the market? What market share?
So we see continuously United Healthcare, AARP, they own the market. What's surprising, we have Mutual of Omaha, which is just a MedSup company. Tried and true, steady, conservative, do a good job. But we come over here and we see Aetna really jumping onto the field at 29%.
Maybe in the last 6 years. Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
And then these are the top 10 carriers. Who rounds it out? So Anthem, Elevance.
That's interesting. They put a lot of push on their MedSup
They have.
in the last 4
They
years.
never used to have anything.
Humana is coming on strong. Their rates right now in Texas are
Right. And Humana was not
Killer.
Was not strong.
Yeah, they weren't in it. Globe Life, which is one of our great partners, they're in the
United
top
American.
10.
Yeah, they're still hanging on in the top 10. The interesting thing that nobody wants to talk about is how many of these top MedSup carriers also have a Med Advantage.
So
Most of them.
most
right?
of them do.
And
Of the big ones, the small ones, it doesn't look like.
if they make a lot more money on their Med Advantage than they do off their MedSup, it could be potentially postulated that this might even be a loss leader. That they want to get the client, form the relationship, and ideally transition them over to Med Advantage. So that's something else to talk that you need to know. So you know that Globe Life's not doing it because they don't have an
advantage plan.
CNO doesn't have an advantage. Who else doesn't have an advantage?
Well, Mutual doesn't.
Mutual does not have an advantage. So you know they're not doing it. But everybody else, once they have that relationship, they're getting constantly bombarded with, hey, if you like working with us, you might like our zero premium, low premium Med Advantage plan even better.
Which would make sense because I think trying to maintain this piece of the pie on some carriers would be hard.
It's just a tough market that's getting tougher every year.
Yes.
So I'm not blaming them for their business strategy. I'm just warning you as an agent, when you sell a MedSup, you've generally done a cost-benefit analysis and you and your client have come to the agreement a MedSup is better for your needs, your wants, your budget. And then you're kind of betrayed a little bit when the carrier comes behind you and is trying to get them to move to a Med Advantage. You just got to know that's their game. That's their business. It's their member. And you can tell your client, you might be getting a lot of solicitations from the company trying to persuade you over to Med Advantage. Just remember, there's a reason why you chose to go with MedSup versus Med Advantage.
And when the time is right, we'll decide it together.
Yeah, and if you have questions, call me and we'll go back through why you decided to choose MedSup over Med Advantage.
Because they're not going to really zero in on the networks. They're not going to really zero in on the doctors. They're not, I don't think so.
And I have agents call me mad. They're like, I just lost my client to the company. And it's like, if you're doing a good job with your client, you're explaining this, you're preparing them for those solicitations, you're teaching your client to call you. Right. So we're trying to prepare you for how the industry works, okay? Thank you for watching.
The more you know.
If you learned something today, share it with other agents, especially new agents, because the more you know, the better you'll be as an agent.
Good selling, folks. See ya.